Welcome, team, to the big portion of this course. We're jumping into a bunch of our movement sequencing drills that will help us reach our highest level swing. These drills, if you trust them and do them regularly, will put your body into a position to have the most powerful swing that you can create. So let's jump into them. Now, here's just some keys to success for these movement patterning drills. The key is to trust them and allow yourself to feel weird, because most of them are not swinging from your regular cut. They're swinging from different positions to help you feel something particular in your swing. And you put them all together, and you are going to find the best bat speed, the most power, and the most consistency with the ability to adjust in your swing. The key to many of these drills is to feel the stretch, the true separation in your swing. A lot of people just think that your hands going back will allow you to feel that separation, and that's not the key. The key is resisting your hip turn with your upper half. And as we've talked about in the previous lesson, that disassociation, where your lower half is turning but your upper half is resisting that turn, that is true separation. That's when you feel a great stretch between your back hip and your back shoulder. That's what we want to feel. As always, we want to swing with high intent to do damage. We want to swing as hard as we can, because if we don't do that in these drills, we won't do it in the box when the game is on the line. And we want to drop bombs in the box, so we need to drop bombs in the cage. And lastly, challenge yourself with different implements. And implements are anything you can put in your hand to swing that's different, whether it be a light bat, a heavy bat, a long bat, a short bat, a different loaded bat, whether it be knob load, end load, put a donut on your bat for a different weight, swing the PVC pipes, a baseball bat. Anything that's different will challenge your body to move that implement properly. And it will allow you to feel the adjustments you have to make in your swing without a coach having to tell you what to do. Coaches, you just put these drills in front of your players and put different implements in their hands and watch them increase their consistency in their movements and with the balls that they hit. So, let's get into these drills. All of these are movement sequencing drills. And we're working from our stretch into a more dynamic position and then into more traditional drills towards the end. The stretch portion, the stretch series, which we're going to jump into here, is, in my opinion, the most important drill sequence we can get into, because it's most often the sequence in our swing that is not properly taught and properly drilled into our kids. There's too many push swings out there. There's too many shift to swings out there. And we want to really fire this swing from our back hip in the stretch position. So, let's get into the stretch series. Arguably, my favorite drill is this open stretch position, where our feet and our hips are pointed towards the pitcher, and then we get that upper half in our normal position in the box. So you're already turning into kind of a stretch there. Now we want to load into that hip and kind of pull back that back shoulder to feel even more of a stretch, and then fire that swing from our hip. We want to explode out of that hip and bring the barrel behind the ball. Again, always trying to drive through that inside seam. The open stretch drill. Next, we're just building on that stretch position. We're going to angle our feet down the line. Alright, so I'm a lefty here, so my feet are angled down the first base line. Righties, you would be angled down the third base line. And again, we're going to load up into that hip, fire from that hip, and allow that stretch to turn our barrel behind the ball. I hate to see a miss hit, but everybody does it. Next stretch position is our wide stretch. So here we get down into our front foot down position. All right, so we've already strode, and our foot's down, our heel is down on that front side, and we are creating tension and pulling back. It's hard to see, but Chitty is pulling back that shoulder, and she's going to fire from that hip. She's not pushing her hands at the ball. She's turning that barrel behind the ball. So get as wide as you can. We need to create that space to be able to turn. She's going to pull back on that shoulder and turn at the back hip. Again, trying to drive the ball to the back top of the cage. Building on top of that, it's our wide stretch, but with our bat flat pulled back behind our shoulder. Okay, we're just kind of sequencing our swing kind of by frames here, and we need to get to that position so we can turn it behind the ball. So again, I get wide, my elbow is pinching back, so my shoulder is flexing back, and I'm turning from that hip so I can create that stretch. We always want to fire our swing from that back hip, not from our hands. All right, here comes some dynamic drills, movements. Allow yourself to be athletic, allow your athletes to be athletic, and let them produce crazy cuts from these drills. Let them swing, let yourself swing as hard as you can. Here's the traditional walkthrough. And a lot of people call it Happy Gilmore. And we like to take that step behind our front foot so it gives our back hip the most movement to turn. All right, if you walk in front, your hip's basically already loaded and already turned, but we want to challenge ourselves to turn that back hip as far as it can go. When you take that step behind, you pull back on that shoulder to get into your launch stretch position, and then turn it behind that back hip. Next dynamic drill, flamingo. Okay, I don't see a lot of people doing this drill, but it's great at teaching athletes to trust them to swing and to see a ball with their front foot in the air. If you load with your back hip, all right, if you swing from your back hip, you can swing with your foot in the air. You can start it with your foot in the air. If you swing with your quad, if you need to swing with 2 feet down, you can't do that. Okay? So we want to teach our athletes to swing from that back hip and not from 2 feet down. And we can see that other high-level athletes are doing these drills. I got the chance to watch some BP at Georgia this past year, 2018, and they were doing the flamingo drill before a series against Alabama. A lot of these drills you can do off front toss. You can do off machine. All right. Now the walkthrough and some of these drills coming up might be a little harder, but flamingo is great because we want to be able to read pitches with our feet in the air, okay, with our front foot in the air, not both feet. And to be able to do that, flamingo is a great drill to kind of transition ourselves into trusting ourselves reading pitches with that front foot in the air. One of my favorite drills in this dynamic series is knob to knee. These drills kind of try to teach us to not have our hands go first, to delay those hands going forward with that knob coming to our knee and then pulling back with that shoulder. Fire from that back hip. I'm saying a lot of the same things, but these different drills are really teaching that true separation, that true stretch, and coming behind the ball. Similar to knob to knee is Ichiro. If nobody knows who Ichiro is, go look him up on YouTube. One of the greatest hitters of all time. He kind of had a load with that front leg, like Chitty's doing here. And again, it teaches us to get into that back hip and to delay those hands coming forward. Split grip. You see a lot of athletes pull this out, maybe if they're facing a rise ball pitcher, or some slappers do this as well. But you saw in the PVC pipe, it helps us get our elbow in a position where we can turn the barrel behind the ball. All right, we don't want to push, we want to turn it behind the ball. If you have any questions about these drills, jump into the Facebook group and we can really dig into them. But I think if you challenge yourself or your athletes to get into these positions and show them, they'll figure it out. All right, an exaggeration for these next two drills that we have. Here is tipping, and we want to tip our bat head down the opposite baseline. So I'm kind of tipping the head of my bat at the third baseman. Righties would tip it towards the first baseman. We're going to take our regular cuts, but this is going to force us to get our elbow into the slot near our back hip, delaying those hands so we can turn the barrel behind the ball versus pushing it. And again, another great hitter of the past, Gary Sheffield, the Sheffield drill. If you need to figure out why this drill is called the Sheffield drill, go look him up. And this is just an exaggeration on the tipping drill. Really get that elbow in that position so it delays our upper half movement through. Now here are some more traditional drills, and I'll point out what we look for in these drills as we go through them. Classic one arms. Chitty likes them. Lots of athletes like them. But challenge yourself when you go to get as far down on that bat as you can and to turn it with your body. We don't want to just touch the ball, we want to drive it. So drive that barrel towards the inside half, towards that inside seam, and hit it as hard as you can. High tee. All right, we'll go high, low, reel in, reel out front here. I think that's the sequence we got. So with high tee, we want to drive that barrel to the ball, drive it up. We don't want to get on top of it. We want to hit it as hard as we can. Drive everything to the top of the cage. Low tee. Now this is a great bat path drill, working on the depth of our barrel and our swing. Because if you push to get that barrel to the ball, you're going to roll it over. If you drop that barrel behind the ball and create a good bat path behind it, you can drive it up the middle and drive it in the air. And that's what when people throw drop balls, they want you to roll it over. They want you to have a bad bat path. They want you to go right at the ball, and you see a lot of people foul balls off when they do that, into their leg. But we want to drive it up the middle and in the air. So get on plane early. Close tee, a great bat path and a challenge drill here. Now, it might not look like it, but this tee is uncomfortably close to me and uncomfortably deep in the zone with it being that close. And so I need to challenge myself to turn hard and get my barrel to the inside half. And we want to try to drive it up the middle the other way in the air instead of getting our barrel around it and hitting a ground ball. Some people might call this the Jeter drill. Okay, Derek Jeter used to always fight off an inside pitch and dump it into right field. So that's our goal on this one. It's almost like we let the ball get too deep, but we turn and can still get barrel on it. Okay, opposite of that is far tee. We committed too early, the ball is still way out in front, but we need to keep a proper bat angle and not release our bat head and try to hit it up the middle and in the air. If we release too early, we're going to hit a ground ball and roll over. Now here's a classic long tee drill. We put a ball on a tee as high as it can go at the end of the cage, or you can put a marker at the end of the cage in the middle of it. And we want to try to drive it above the tee, and if we miss straight ahead, we want to miss hitting it the opposite field. This helps us stay inside the ball, drive through the inside half of the ball, and it can give us a little bit of competitive juices going when we want to try to hit that ball off the tee or try to hit targets at the end of the cage. So challenge yourself to hit it as hard as you can and stay inside. Now, that is a long drill sequence. Do a couple of those drills a day. Do the stretch series as much as you can. And it will add up in the long run. Now, doing these drills as an athlete, you can coach yourself. Okay, you can tell yourself, how did that feel? Coaches, you can kind of back off. Just give them the drills and let them do the work. Now, mix it up. Now, experimenting with different implements. Picking up the heaviest baseball bat you can and try to swing it. See what that feels like. Doing those little experiments, mixing up the drills, how many you do of each drill. Maybe I hit a heavy ball, maybe I hit a baseball. Challenging yourself in those situations will only make you a better hitter. Intent, go after it every swing. It's just a drill sequence. Who cares what you look like? Feel weird through the process and you will be better in the end. And then lastly, it's all about feeling that stretch, feeling that true separation, and turning behind the ball. You will be so much better at adjusting to different pitches and competing in the box when you have these movement sequences down. Do these drills enough, and you will. Thank you for following along this long lesson and listening to the birds chirp as I'm outside here in Michigan. But I hope you get after these drills and push yourself to become the best hitter that you can be, the best coach you can be. And we believe that you can do that. Again, any questions, jump into the Facebook group. We're here for you. And thank you for tuning in for this lesson.